Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the House Lights podcast. My name's Gabe Johnson. I'm your host, and here on the podcast, we explore the intersection of technical excellence and pastoral care because leading behind the scenes requires both. Today, we're going to actually take a little bit of a detour from the more spiritual leadership kind of pastoral care side, and we're going to talk a little bit about gear. So if you're anything like me and most of the production people that I know, you love gadgets, you love gear, not just like PAs and lights and like microphones and things like that, though all of that's really cool as well. But we tend to also like the little gadgets that just make things easier, that we can carry with us all the time. Maybe it's little dongles or widgets or anything like that. And it's just it's a lot of fun. It's fun to kind of like optimize like your workflows and kind of your like EDC everyday carry kit. And it's just a lot of fun. And so I thought I'd share with you what I find to be the 5 most important things that I carry with me regularly that seem to help me as a production pastor, as a production manager in my context. Quick disclaimer, none of these things are like sponsored or sent to me or anything like that. These are just things I use and I wanted to share with you. So first I want to say, this is all going to depend on your context. If you are primarily an audio engineer, this may shift a little bit more toward like audio things. If you are a lighting designer, you might carry some different things specifically for lighting. If you are, say, on tour or in a setup and tear down kind of portable church situation, then these things might change as well. And I think that's really important, is to not just don't just carry what I carry because I carry it and I told you it's cool. Instead, use the tools that best serve you in your context, in your church, and for your style and personality. So enough of that. Let's get to the fun stuff. Okay. Number 1, a flashlight. For those of you listening audio only, I am showing these and you can see them on YouTube, but I will also describe what I'm using. So I carry this flashlight. It is the Streamlight Macro Stream USB. This is actually a fairly new addition to my kit. It is, in my opinion, just a super small, you see it fits like in the palm of my hand, and small but bright and simple flashlight to use. It's USB rechargeable. It's bright. It's got like a bright and a dim mode. That's it. No strobes, no colors. It's just bright and then less bright. And there's no like focusing of the like wide to narrow beam. It just is a flashlight that I use almost daily, and I just make sure I plug it in every couple days, and it recharges overnight and it's ready to go. A flashlight is super important because we often work in dark spaces. And so if we are trying to get under the desk and find something and, trace cables, if we're trying to go backstage and we can't turn on the overhead lights and we need to find something, if we're digging under the stage and just none of the lights reach there, we're going to need to be able to see. Here in Arizona, actually, you kind of need a flashlight to make sure that you're not going to like grab a scorpion if you're digging under stage, but that may not be the case where you are. But flashlights are super important. Some sort of light source is super important. I like this one, the Streamlight Macro Stream, or anything like it, because it has the double pocket clip. So it's got a pocket clip, and I can carry it in my back left pocket, and it stays right there, easily accessible when I need it. But because of the double-sided clip, Again, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see I can actually clip it right on to the brim of my hat, and it becomes a like pseudo headlamp if I need to go hands free, and I can use my hands and work on something at the same time while it's still got light there without having to carry a flashlight and a headlamp. Headlamps are great if I know I'm going to be working for a long time. There's usually one in my Pelican, but as far as what I carry like on my person every day, it's just a small, compact, rechargeable flashlight. Flashlights are just, they seem a little bit silly to some people, but for me, it's actually like the most useful thing. I can even use it like if I'm trying to point at something far away across the room, I can like use my flashlight to highlight it for someone, for them to look in the right direction so that they can see what I'm talking about. And it's just probably the single most used piece of kit that I carry in my like pockets every single day. Obviously, we all have our phones, and the phone flashlight will do in a pinch, but it's kind of bulkier. It's like a little bit weird if you're like on the phone with somebody too, and you're trying to look for something, or if you leave your phone somewhere else, if it's dead, if it's dying, you don't want to use up the battery. Having a dedicated flashlight really just helps you to be able to operate in the environments that we operate in. Phone flashlight is good in a pinch or as a secondary light or when your main flashlight is dead. But I like to have a dedicated handheld flashlight with a double clip so that I can clip it onto my hat when needed. As I said before, you don't need to go buy the Streamlight, but it's the one that I found that I really like, and it's worked really well for me. Moving on to the other piece of gear that I use probably every single day at work, outside of work. This is a knife or a multi-tool. So for me personally, I don't like the bulk of a multi-tool, but something like a Leatherman is really great to have, because then you've got all these little tools on you all of the time. Maybe you're like tightening stands, you're opening packs of batteries, cutting zip ties, adjusting gear, all that kind of stuff. Maybe you're having to like cut duve or gaff tape, or maybe even having to like cut a curtain, or trim back a cable that you're about to work on, or, you know, cut the head off of a cable, something like that. I found that a folding pocket knife in my pocket has become just a staple part of my gear, of my EDC. I use a just folding Kershaw pocket knife. It's assisted opening, and it's great. It's really easy to use. It's nice and big for my hands. I have kind of larger hands, so it's big enough to fit in my hands, and it sounds so satisfying when you open it. Oh yeah, just like one more time. Yeah, it's great. Again, if you don't want to carry a huge knife like this is on the larger side because I have larger hands. Carry whatever fits you, whatever's great. And if you don't prefer just like a knife and you really would like all of the other tools, then go with something like a Leatherman. I have a Leatherman. I just don't like the bulk in my pocket. And so it's really one of those things that can be used all the time. Sometimes people are like, well, I'm not like cutting things every day. What am I going to use a knife for? Well, sometimes you need to like sharpen a pencil. I know that sounds like funny. Or maybe you need to like cut, not just like tear gaff tape, but maybe you need to like cut it in like a kind of weird shape to like properly, like very particularly gaff something. Maybe you need to like cut zip ties and because that's really annoying when you're like trying to pull and you can't break a zip tie. Pro tip, if you've got a pair of pliers, just grab the little nub, the little like knot at the end of the zip tie, and then just twist, and it will like twist it off and snap it off with any pair of pliers. So there you go. I do like having a Leatherman because you've got a few more tools for screwing and unscrewing things particularly. And I do recognize that that would be a lot more useful for a lot of people. For me, I just don't like the bulk in my pocket of a Leatherman that is too thick, at least the ones I've had. And I'm sure there are thinner ones. I just haven't gotten those. So this is kind of like item 2.5, but the way I compensate for that is I have a small multi screwdriver that I keep in my backpack. I don't carry this in my pocket. This one is from Hoto, and it's fun because it kind of looks like a big crayon, and it's got 26, I think, different precision screwdriver heads in the bottom of it, and they just go right in the top, which allows me to have a screwdriver whenever I need it. So a knife / multi-tool, it's one thing to carry, 100 fixes, and you'll never regret having them. One note on knives, just be careful always. Cut away from yourself. Just know where other people are. Don't hurt yourself, obviously. Be careful when sharpening it or when it's getting too dull and you have to push really hard. Keep it properly sharp, and just be safe. Don't hurt anybody. Don't hurt yourself. We don't need to be dealing with injuries when we're trying to make the weekend happen. It's that's not what we want. Okay, moving on. Tool number 3 that I always keep, it's not always in my pocket, but it's always in my backpack, is a USB-C multi-port dongle. This one is from UTech Smart. You can get it on Amazon. Nothing fancy. Most computers nowadays, and even things like iPads and iPhones or other mobile devices, use USB-C. They don't use USB-A, but we may still have USB-A gear around, and they usually also don't have HDMI ports or Ethernet ports on them anymore. So I always carry this USB-C dongle. This is the one I'm carrying right now in my backpack because it has everything I need. It's got an Ethernet port. It's got a HDMI output, several USB-A ports for older gear, and it will also pass power through the dongle to my laptop or to whatever device I'm trying to power. I've used this with my iPad to like display something. I've used it with my computer to connect, however many different devices that I've needed to. And it really just lets you be the one that can connect anything anywhere. And it happens so many times where somebody comes in for maybe an event, right? Maybe it's not on a Sunday morning, but it's an event, and they've got a computer and they're trying to connect for a presentation to even just a TV. Maybe it's even just a meeting, like a staff meeting, and somebody just didn't quite do the research on what they needed to bring ahead of time because that's not their area. And you're able to reach in your backpack and be like, oh, I've got the dongle for that, and connect them up right away. I've found that having this has always been helpful for other people, for myself, for events, even just in a pinch, right? If a computer goes down in the middle of a weekend and I have to throw my laptop in to run lyrics or to do something else last minute, having a dongle like this just lets me be able to connect all the peripherals I need, never have to worry about how many ports I've got on my MacBook, and makes sure that we can always deliver whatever we need to deliver anywhere we need to deliver it. So USB-C dongle, think through what kind of ports you want available and find the dongle that works for you. For me, I have a minimum requirement of at least one USB-A port for any kind of older peripherals, an HDMI port for video display, and an Ethernet port so that I can connect to an Ethernet cable, either for internet connection or so that I can get into different network controlled systems or network switches, anything like that. Having a wired connection is great. So USB-C dongle, get one, put it in your kit. You won't regret it. You will use it. And even if you won't use it for yourself, you'll use it for somebody else. So it's just such a lifesaver, getting us through in a pinch kind of piece of gear. Number 4, most useful thing. This is so small. You're going to think it's silly, but you're going to use it all the time. Sharpie or other permanent marker, right? I have a Sharpie here, and these are what I usually have, Sharpie. Again, not always in my pocket. Depending on what I'm doing, I will put one in my pocket and just use it all day. If I'm especially like maybe patching things, I'll keep a Sharpie with me. If I'm organizing and labeling things, I will keep a Sharpie with me. They are just so useful. Labeling cables, marking cases, quick notes, making like emergency last minute like signage, right? For the team, if you need to post something backstage for your team, like a note, you just grab a piece of paper and you grab a Sharpie and you can write it real big, and it's perfect. You can mark gaff tape, you can mark spike tape, you can write notes, you can label bad cables if they go bad and you need to pull them out of the inventory. Sharpies are just they seem kind of silly, but if you don't have one, when you need to label something, you're going to be frustrated. So I usually keep 2 different kinds of Sharpies around. I keep a black Sharpie and I keep a silver Sharpie. Silver Sharpie seems a little bit silly until you're trying to write on black gaff tape, which is the gaff tape that we use most of the time. So black gaff tape, silver Sharpie, it's the easiest, like low profile way to label something, especially if you're like labeling a stage deck and you need the person on the stage to be able to see it well, but not necessarily everyone in the congregation and not like maybe on camera as easily. You don't want to use like orange tape or pink tape or green tape. Putting black gaff tape or black spike tape and labeling it with a silver Sharpie will help it be seen. And it just makes it so discreet that you'll forget that it's there during your services, which is awesome. Sharpies also are like, permanent markers as opposed to any other kind of like writing instrument. Like a pen is always great too, but having a Sharpie lets you write on like way more kinds of surfaces that you might need to wherever you're at. I've marked like 2x4s with it. I've marked drywall with it for like mounting things. I think I've even marked concrete for various projects. And it really is the like kind of do it all marking tool. So always have a Sharpie, always keep extras nearby. Again, I don't always have this in my pocket, but it is always in my bag. And so it's always nearby. And then at the different campuses that I've worked at, I always make sure that there's Sharpies like in the booth and there's Sharpies backstage, wherever I need them, so that we just always have the Sharpies that we need. Always can label it. And I always keep black and silver for whatever the use may be. Okay, and that brings us to number 5, the last tool. It's a little bit different than you might think, but it is a pocket notebook. Yep, sounds a little weird, especially in a digital age, and being somebody that works with gear and technology all of the time, I have found that having a physical analog paper pocket notebook with me has been invaluable many times. So it allows me to take notes. Obviously, it allows me to write things down, even like make little labels and like leave it on something. It's let me write notes to people and like tear it out and like give it to them or leave it by their workstation. It can pair with the Sharpie for those notes, right? I use just a small black soft cover. I don't even know the brand. It was like $6 for a pack of 6 or 8 of them on Amazon. and they're great. I use a dot grid pattern right now. I'm not opposed to also just a grid pattern. I don't love lined because then I can't draw diagrams and things like that as easily. That's another thing that these are really useful for, is if you need to draw something for somebody and show them like where you want something or how you want something to work or how it should all fit together, or you need to like draw a little flow chart. I found that having a physical medium for doing that actually makes it way, way, way easier and way just more engaging. I tend to remember things better if I've physically written them down. I think there's some science behind that as well. And yeah, physical notebook. That's not for everybody. I know, I realize that, but I think it can be really useful for a lot of us. I even think that if you don't want to carry one in your pocket like this, having some form of physical notebook in your backpack would be useful for everyone. Whether you use it every day or it's just on occasion, sometimes you just can't replace having pen and paper. The other day I was at one of our campuses, and one of the guest services staff was talking with someone, and they needed to write a note down. And so they came over to the booth and they were like, "Hey, does anybody have pen and paper?" But like, we don't use any paper in the booth. And the production manager that I was with like looked around and was just like, I don't have any paper. It's like all computers and screens and keyboards and stuff. But I was able to reach down to that day. I had it in my backpack, this exact notebook. I was able to reach down, grab my notebook, tear out a page and hand it to him. And he was able to like write down the notes from this interaction with this person and put it in his pocket and have it for later follow-up. I found that having a page like that on the weekends, if you're out meeting and greeting people, having a little book in your pocket, and after you have an interaction, you just quickly like write down their name, a few little details, and when to follow up or how you said you're going to follow up: email, text, coffee, whatever the case may be. It also, in different kinds of like meetings, I found that having a physical notebook will help you be less distracted than taking notes on your phone or your computer. For me, I can struggle sometimes if I'm trying to take notes on my phone, especially because notifications come in. You put it in silent, focus modes, but still notifications. There's all the other apps that you're used to like swiping over to really easily. Sometimes it's just muscle memory. You don't even like consciously realize that you're changing over to Instagram or your email and refreshing it. And so having a notebook can help put a barrier between those like distractions. Even on my computer, sometimes I have a million tabs open for all the projects I've been working on. You can kind of see it, behind whatever windows you're working on. And it can just like pull your mind away. Even if you're not going to those tabs, you're like, oh yeah, I was working on that. I was researching that. I was, writing this other thing, and it can pull your mind out of the moment. Whereas if you have an analog notebook, you can really focus on what's going on in that moment. You can be very present. You know that you're not being distracted. Nobody wonders if you're texting or emailing. You can help people feel your presence a little bit more than taking notes in some sort of digital format. Pocket notebook. I know it's a little out of the ordinary, but I think it's super useful. Again, even if you don't carry it in your pocket, which I don't every day, it kind of depends on what I'm doing that day, but I will often carry it in my pocket. I think it's super useful for everyone to have a notebook available. I like this size. It's super small, super flexible, and can fit in my pocket, fit in my backpack, wherever it is. This one's it's roughly like 3.5 by 5 inches, something like that, and it's really, really easy to use, super inexpensive, and will come in handy more than once. This is one of those things that is low tech and high impact, which is just super cool. All right, so that's my 5 tools, 5.5 tools if you count the screwdriver along with the knife. They're not flashy, but they show that you're prepared when you're able to come through and somebody is like, oh, I can't connect my computer. Don't worry, I've got the dongle. You're looking for something. Somebody even just drops something in the booth and they can't find it in the shadows. Oh, I've got a flashlight. No problem. When you come across someone that needs to write a note down and you're able to tear out a piece of paper and hand them a piece of paper to write with, we're able to label everything. These are the kinds of things that they don't cost much. They don't weigh much. They don't take up a lot of space, but they are able to make a difference in just the kind of quality of life in any kind of situation. So whether it's your volunteers, your worship team, anybody that you're working with, you're able to assist those around you. You're able to make your life that much smoother and easier because you're able to see, you're able to take notes. Some people think that, it's the gear that separates amateurs from professionals, but it's not the gear. It's the preparation. And these, while they are little pieces of kit, they are not flashy, expensive gear. They show preparation, they show intentionality, and they show that you're thinking about what you're doing and how you're doing it, which builds trust with your team. It builds confidence in yourself, and it just gives you mental space to be present with people in a more pastoral way. So here's your homework. Don't go get all of this, but think through what you have with you, the problems you usually run into, and what one thing you could put in your backpack, put in your pocket, whatever the case may be, that will make life easier for you, for your team, and for anyone else that you come across. Well, that's it for today. Thanks so much for hanging out. This is kind of a fun episode because, again, I like the little gadgets and gear. This is really fun for me. I hope that you got something out of it. If you did, on YouTube, go ahead and leave a comment. If you found it useful and you're listening on audio platforms, please rate and leave a review also. That helps more people find the podcast. That's it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I hope to see you back next time.